Okay.
Do I start off at the beginning here?
Is it good on there?
It's good on there, yes.
Welcome to the Behind the Remodeler podcast, brought to you by KM Builders. I'm Keith Moehle, and my co-hosts for today are Justin Bravo and Morgan Moehle-Roberts. And today we will be talking about our past and present marketing efforts in this 9th episode of Behind the Remodeler. Welcome back, and thanks for listening to Behind the Remodeler podcast. How are you doing today, Justin and Morgan?
I'm doing great. I'm excited that we got Morgan finally on the podcast.
That was an accomplishment.
Listen, I've been pumped about this. She usually runs all the technical stuff behind the scenes, but now she's on camera, she's on mic, she's on the things, and now she's on right now. How you doing, Morgan?
How do you feel, Morgan?
Hello. I'm fine, thanks. Just kidding, I'm excited.
So, Morgan, let's start off with you. What is your role here at KM Builders?
I'm the marketing manager, and I've been doing it for it'll be 2 years this month.
Has it been that long?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also your daughter.
That's right. And you've been that for 25 years.
Yes.
So you've also had other roles here in the company before, and that changed, like you said, about 2 years ago, and it's been a big difference in our marketing. And so we want to talk a little bit about some of the changes that you implemented and things that have kind of graduated throughout in the long history of KM Builders back when I was a framing contractor and since 1984. Obviously, the world has changed a lot.
Sure.
And marketing, along with that, has changed. And, you know, I think as the world changed and realizing that marketing needed to change was a delayed effect. That probably wasn't only me, but a lot of people probably realized a little late that, hey, we have to advertise differently.
Sure.
And I know that getting exposed to you helped me to realize how much things needed to change.
To Justin?
To Justin, I should say that. Justin. To you, Justin.
Exposed to me was when I was born.
Yeah. That did make me think differently, too. Obviously, it changed me a lot, but particularly the exposure I had to other remodelers and things like that, you know, and Justin was the prominent one that I was exposed to. We started off, I guess, if I take you really back, when I started remodeling about a decade later, after I'd become a framing contractor, really tried to started to do some marketing. Back in that day, you could still put a yellow page ad.
Sure.
Before that, I had tried actually putting out flyers and creating my own flyers and so forth. And of course, the level that you produce anything at is determining what kind of project you're going to get, what kind of client you're going to get. So it was hard to get into the world of the larger remodels that we do now, the full design build. It took a lot to get our company there. In fact, decades to get us to where we're at now. But one of the best marketing decisions I feel I ever made was to get a radio show.
How long had you been in business before you decided to do that?
So it was in 2003 that we started a radio show on a local radio station here. And it was the largest talk radio station, so I figured that was a good place to start. It had a big audience, way proportionally bigger and larger than any of the other stations did. And I knew that talk radio is the only place you're going to get a radio show typically, and the right kind of listener, the ones who are really, really listening and not changing stations. So not only would that be good for the radio show, but it would be good for the additional marketing that we were going to do in running some radio advertisements. But that would have been, you know, almost 20 years into the business, 19 years to be exact. Before we started doing that kind of marketing, so I mean, but that couldn't have come earlier. We weren't ready for it. We weren't really doing that fully specialized type of work until then. But then I came across Justin shortly thereafter. What year do you think we met?
Oh man, it's probably another, I don't know, maybe another 8 years after that, maybe 10 years, somewhere there.
Yeah, so that was working pretty well. That it helped our business grow. I wasn't doing much on the internet. We had a website, And the website seemed to be the thing to focus on at that point,
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
Is that a fair statement?
Well, it was really kind of the early days of internet, Google, and stuff like that. And my experience was not in construction. I didn't know much about any of that remodeling, but I knew a lot about marketing. I knew a lot about computer sciences, and I knew a lot about programming. And I knew that we could, my old company could succeed on Google. And I think we kind of came out of nowhere when we first started.
You really did. You really did.
I mean, it was
Got my
Stole
attention.
people's business, huh?
It got my business. They were the up and coming stars in the remodeling business as far as getting their name out. And it was really hard to stomach seeing someone come so quickly and rise so fast in in multiple areas, but particularly on websites. I had to experiment with different companies trying to pay people to help me to get my marketing up there on the websites, and it was not nearly as successful as what you were doing, Justin.
Yeah, we took off very quickly. I mean, I think that really first year in business, we were like 1.5 million in revenue. I mean, we were really doing pretty good for
A startup.
for a startup that really did not, like I said, our remodeling experience was not near as robust as your experience of coming up, in actual construction and stuff like that. So everything we were doing was marketing based, and we definitely had a strong hold on the market going into it, and then we went into radio very quickly and kind of just went aggressive. What allowed us to be aggressive is that the internet was so much cheaper back then than even today. Like, we could get Facebook ads for nothing. Like, even today they seem cheap. We were talking about it earlier in a marketing meeting. That we can run ads for, $5 to $8 a day and get a lot of reach. Back then, that was like 5 to 8 cents.
Yeah.
And if I threw $20 at Facebook ads when that first came out, that was a lot. I mean, I was peppering everybody in San Antonio. Nobody could see anything but my face, for $20. I mean, it was just nothing. It was incredible.
Because you could also do a lot of good for free back then, too.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot more reach you can get on Facebook pages. There was so much stuff that you could do. The blogs were a thing. People actually read blogs pretty heavily back then. I mean, that was before they were following a lot on social, so you could get a lot of information out there, and there was just so much to be done, a lot of low-hanging fruit there, and then everyone's catching up. And when I decided to get out of the business, out of construction, I said, hey, I just want to focus on what I like to do, which is the marketing. I'm glad that we had a chance to team up.
Well, and I had told you, and I had told myself first, if he ever becomes available, I want to get that guy to work with me, because this is what we're missing. I felt this was really what we were missing. And of course, a lot of things have changed since you teamed up with us, and for a while, you and I tried to brainstorm together, try to do it, and I failed because I didn't give you the direction that you needed. And so for a long time, we kind of idled. You took care of my website, and
Your Google.
And I think you didn't know me as well enough to tell me to see really how much I wanted to change.
Sure.
But it was through a couple of other attempts of having a marketing person in here to kind of help you, steer you, and get my direction. But it's one of those things that I found out that I really needed to stay deeply involved in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a natural outcropping for me to be involved when Morgan came on, and she gave me a lot of encouragement about opportunities were being lost in our marketing the way that she saw it. So we moved her over into the marketing department to assist the other person who she was working with. She was the assistant in marketing, and that didn't take long, I think, before that person realized that Morgan was going to be aggressive, and she was going to
Sure.
she was going to
No.
To actually have expectations, and was going to question things. Not just question them, but wanted to know the reasons and wanted to know how.
I was nice.
You were nice about it, yes you were. But the other person, I think, began to read the writing on the wall that Morgan was very motivated and had a lot of knowledge that this other person that worked with us did not even have.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where Morgan is insanely talented. She really appreciates social aesthetics really well, and a lot of people don't get that. She can look at something and say, this really is pleasing to the eye and pleasing to even in the word and the copy, this is pleasing and this is something that's going to resonate with people. And she did that really well from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I think that as we've done that more into what we've been laying out, because there's still a big part that comes out of me that's very, rigid, and I think that she puts a very nice hone and clean on even the copy that I write. I think she does a really good job polishing it up.
And what was it where you kind of gained that expertise in the marketing that you brought to us?
Well, after I got married, I wanted to start being a wedding planner. So I had just, I did as many webinars and online classes as I could get my hands on how to gain popularity on Instagram, building a fan base. Creating fans was what I had learned was the main thing. And then I realized working for you part-time and seeing, you have fans. Hearing of people coming in saying, I can't wait to meet you, was like, what? People really are already like, and what's the word? They're just so enamored by you, like this celebrity already. And if you could take that and get that off of that radio show audience, make that a bigger audience, that was my thought process for you.
Right.
Be the expert that you already are. And we were able to, I think
maximize it.
Mm-hmm.
Maximizing. Yeah, it really was our first thoughts, wasn't it? To maximize what we already had and what we had already built. And Justin said the same thing. You kept saying that you've got something here that more people kind of need to know about.
Absolutely.
And so, I didn't know of any way to do it any other than what I was already doing, but things have really changed in the last year, particularly. We launched some things last year.
Yeah, I think we launched our blog technically in last year.
Mm-hmm.
But it really started becoming fine-tuned about maybe a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about a year running where we really came to the current
I think
methods
it's been
that
a
we're
year.
using.
Every single week we've produced a new blog.
A new blog, yeah.
For
And
almost
so that is one of the things that we are trying to be cutting edge on is video, and that's what Justin helped us to see, that video, and you brought in a lot of insights at how you were attracted to others in the industry that you were from, and it had a lot to do with video.
Yeah, I was noticing that I was getting to know people through their Instagram lives and Facebook lives. So being in their home, seeing behind the scenes. So I wanted to create that for you. So one of the things that we started doing about a year ago is we do a Wednesday night coffee chat. A cold one. So he cracks open
Informal.
a beer. Sometimes you were grilling in the summer and in the nice weather. Sometimes we play pool and we just talk about your day and answer questions. Sometimes people have some questions for you that you can answer right away for them. A lot of people have questions about flooring. Sometimes you go and clean your car and then they have questions about that. So
I think is huge, because you can see, like, if anyone's watched one of those videos, you see the kind of care and detail that Keith puts into this car, like, all the little, and someone said that, and they said, anyone who is going to take that amount of, discriminatory, like, going over the details of cleaning the grill of their car, that's the person I want remodeling my home. And I think that was the whole point, that, from the beginning, what we were trying to do was the fact that, yes, like, I think your expertise in the construction industry and all this other stuff was fantastic, but we wanted to show, like,
The personality.
the person, yeah, because I think a lot of people didn't get to see that. Even on radio, it's such a short, quick, burst that you don't get to show your personality and all your hobbies and things you like, and so I think that gave a really good opportunity to showcase that, and people have resonated with that, right?
yeah,
Well,
we've even changed a lot on the radio show.
We
too.
have.
Yeah.
Having Morgan on the
Made
radio
a lot
show,
of changes.
for example, has brought out a different dynamic, and that I was the one that suggested that,
Yeah.
because I said, you know what, I can get a little bit more instructive and a little tied to the details, but we need to have more fun with it. We need to show that personality that y'all had talked about. And I thought one of the best ways to show personality was to get Morgan on the radio show with me. She teases me and we tease each other a little bit, but we just have more fun on it, and it's had some positive resonating with the audience.
Yeah,
They've commented on that.
Yeah, we get calls specifically saying that they like the father-daughter team on the radio show.
Yeah, I thought they would, and it's been true. And she's of course in a lot of the other media that we produce, It helps me relax, it helps me to be more myself. And you said it a long time, you really did push me to say, the personality needs to be shown. And that you have aspects of your personality that people will really truly appreciate and will help you to become known as that personality in lots of other areas.
That's true, and I think that a lot of people miss this, especially businesses, when they're doing social media, is they forget the social part of the social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just trying to put out ads, they're trying to say, this is what we're doing, this, you know, they're putting out very much like a newsletter type, you know, format in their Facebook post.
That's what I would have done.
You know, and it's okay, I mean, if people really, really are hardcore about your company, that can work, but I think that people want to buy from people they like, and so by being social, showing the stuff that we're doing outside of just, you know, hammering nails, and by, you know, talking about playing golf and all the other stuff that you do, and I think there's some relation they can have to that, and all of a sudden they're like, oh wow, I like that guy, and so I think that we're trying to be as social as we can, from the vlogs to the podcast to, you know, everything we're doing is very hyper social.
I think too, you know, this business is not just you know, buying something from somebody.
Yeah, retail product.
Yeah, it's more, you want people to be comfortable with you, because how long are you in their house? You know, 2 weeks to 6 months, depending on how big of a remodeling project, in somebody's house. So that's the most trusting you have to be, besides somebody opening up your stomach, you know.
Oh yeah.
But like,
true.
it's your health and your home. Those are, you know.
Those are the two big ones.
Yeah.
And you're right. And
they
sometimes
have to get to know you first is already, that barrier you've already overcome.
you're right. I mean, you two and even our clients have helped me to become aware that these things should not be taken for granted, that we do so well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, running a very, very strict production company, production aspect of our company has always been first and foremost, and even others in the industry have commented that, man, you are the tops when it comes to running production. Anybody who knows how much attention to detail we give it in the production area, and having the redundancies built in, the cleanup, the neatness, the communication, being on time, keeping the window short, and giving people their slot and not leaving till that project's done. A lot of these things I always took for granted, and it really has been a gradual awareness being brought to me that things aren't always like that in the industry. I've always positively assumed that others do. Well, they try to do the same thing I'm doing, but you know, you having had experience outside and knowing a lot of others in the industry, and having attracted many wonderful team members from other companies, they've told me it's really not like that out there.
No, it's funny. I think people, and especially you, probably underestimate a lot of that, because, you know, I tried to do a lot of stuff with mentoring some other remodelers when we were both in the over at the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, talking to other companies, and you know, and hearing some of their struggles, and you know, some people. I think everyone was trying to do right by their customers, but you know, the problem is, depending on your level of revenues, is how much you can afford the staff to do it. You've always had a large staff of people that can take care of, so you have maximum control of how those remodels are laid out and done.
Right.
So you can go and detail that scheduling. Most guys, smaller guys, they can't afford a staff, so what they do is they have a lot of subcontractor crews, and they don't really control the schedule of those crews.
No.
And so it ends up leaving their customer hanging here and there, because there's a week gap here, a week gap here, and all of a sudden, you know, before you know it, on a 3-month project, it's extended it to almost 6 months, just because there's been so much downtime. And that's not how KM runs things. There's a very, very just amazingly structured schedule that really allows for just awesome flow.
Well, you're pointing out one of our real strengths, and I'll just add on to that I always had a disproportionately larger staff for the amount of revenue that we were bringing in, because I really couldn't sleep good at night unless I knew I had the resources allocated to be able to do that. I was not going to go to sleep wondering how am I going to fulfill these promises. I always felt like, kind of like they say, if you build it, they will come. And I've always had that mentality, even to a fault, of if there's the right team players needed to do projects, I need to get those as soon as I can. We'll get the work whenever we do a successful project and we get repeat clients and we get referred. And in the big picture, it really has been true. We've been referred, we have a very high level of revenue consistently in this company, so that everyone that works here, all 40 of us, have 40 to 60 hour weeks every week consistently, and we don't run short of work.
Sure. Well, you know, it's like I said, it's something that so often, you know, a lot of contractors, big GCs, you know, all of a sudden they get a project because they don't have people on staff. You know, they're scrambling to find a painter.
Staff them up.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, I just landed this kitchen remodel. I got to find a painter. So they're calling, you know, people driving by in trucks, and they're doing everything they can, and they don't have
warm bodies on the job.
Warm bodies. They don't have time to vet. They don't have time
No,
to
they
really
don't.
vet anybody because because their usual guy that they say they use all the time happens to be stuck on with another remodeler because they didn't have work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and or you know, it may not even necessarily be work, but you know, if you go from a kitchen remodel to a room addition to a patio cover, these are all different, you know,
different
disciplines. And so all of a sudden, you know, by the time you've cycled back to needing that person, they're not available for you, and then you're calling random people to try to like pull everything together. You know,
Another thing that strikes their workforce is because they are subcontract crews. They lose them to hurricanes and natural disasters.
100%.
They move away and they're not
Travel
available
trips.
anymore. And these are some of the things, having and maintaining a regular staff, support staff for all these projects has been a real issue with my competitors. That hasn't been one of ours. We don't even hardly think about it because we have such low turnover. And the ones that we do use, the few subcontract crews we do, they're kept busy with us almost
They're really
exclusively.
loyal.
And they don't want to go somewhere else.
Sure.
I mean, why? They
Sure.
know they'd lose the consistency that we give them.
Absolutely, and I think that's the important thing that, you know, we've been trying to do as a, you know, on the marketing side of things is what can we do to push that message out to let everyone
Exactly.
know. And that's something I think
Because
Morgan's done a great job of.
These things are easy for y'all to recognize. You know right away because y'all have both
We
been
take
in
it for
the
granted.
industry.
I take it for granted
Yeah.
because I worked so hard at it, and I just couldn't see giving someone anything less than that type of service.
But our clients are kind of, I feel a lot of times they're probably like you. They trust whoever they're going to hire, and
That's
they're
right.
assuming that these things are right. So a lot of times it's up to us to say, ask these questions. Even if you don't call us, these are the questions that you need to ask before you sign. Make sure that they have those things, because otherwise they're left with what you were saying.
Well,
Nobody there.
That's why we come up with that list of hard-hitting questions you need to ask your remodeler, because if they can answer them right, they're probably they're a good pick. They're a good choice. But if they can't, then you're really going into dangerous areas because you cannot take these things. This is just one area. How are they staffed is just one area of it. How do they run their production? All of that is just one specific area, but there's so many other things, from insurance to licenses to training to vetting employees and training for their employees. You know, even what type of employee do they have, and how long have they been in business? So there's so many other things that we've asked people to go a little bit further in. So when you ask, you know, do you have your own employees? How many? What type of employee? 1099 or W-2? These hard-hitting questions are, like Morgan said, they're things that other people tend to take for granted too. Like I've done, which I shouldn't have done for many years, realize that this is not the norm, and that we are going above and beyond what others consider to be the norm in the industry.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I mean, I think that we've been kind of uncovering that a little bit more and more, and we've been pushing that out. You know, I think our biggest goal is, you know, and kind of with Beyond the Remodeler stuff, because we hope a lot of remodelers are listening to this, you know, and we're hoping that, you know, what we can do is kind of really help drive the professionalism of this industry. You know, our whole goal, of course, we want to be in business, we want to make money, but we want to, you know, uplift the industry as a whole, and I think that you're setting a good example.
Well, if we uplift the industry and the standard becomes higher, it makes it easier for us too, and it does make it easier for others who are doing a good job. And one of the things we did with that radio show is we've appealed to not only the homeowners, but a lot of professionals in the industry listen to that show and have seen how they can raise their own bar. And we're not afraid of competing against people who are offering a good product and good service.
Sure. I mean, if really apples to apples and everyone's doing the same thing, then it really comes down to personality, and it comes down to, like Morgan said,
Style.
they're in your home for a while, right? And the reality is in remodeling, there's going to be little things, little hiccups along the way. And it's how you get along with that person and how you can develop a relationship and how y'all can work together. And if that personality just does not mesh well with yours, that may not be a good fit of a remodeler. And that's why we wanted to show your personality, show you, how you work with details, how you're problem solving, how, the importance of the details, and I think that we've conveyed that in social, and I hope people are seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, you've helped me to realize some of my personal attributes and personality features more than I ever had before, and Morgan too. We've been even doing some personality tests and so forth, and it does make it quite obvious that certain things which I took for granted for many, many years, even decades, about what pushes me and how strongly I believe in certain things, and even to the effort that I will go to make sure that those things are met. And again, I took a lot of it for granted. I'm starting not to with y'all's help, and I think it is important that people know. Even some of the meetings I have with employees and team members, I'm making that well known now, even internally, that there's a standard that we are going to meet, and anybody who doesn't feel like that's reasonable doesn't need to work here.
Sure.
We're going to keep that standard. We're going to be on the same page. We're going to either agree on these points and work toward them in harmony and synchrony, or it's not a good fit. Just like you said,
sure.
Sometimes the homeowner doesn't want that. It's not a good fit. For example, speaking of attention to detail, if we don't have the chance to put all that detail in designing a project, then we don't want to work for that client. If they think it's not necessary to get that detail or to put that type of time into the designing of a project, then we are not a good fit.
Yeah.
And that's entirely their right to do that. If they want to get someone out who will start tomorrow with just a few notes and just a conversation back and forth that says, I get you.
Yeah.
I always say when they say they got you, they are going to get you.
Yeah, you like your plan. You're not really,
Yeah.
I mean, you can shoot from the hip, but you don't really like it. I think you really like making sure that everything is kind of planned out right so things are going to go smoothly.
Yeah.
We even find that in design meetings. Me and Morgan will come up with something and all of a sudden he'll say, hey, instead of a 13.5, can you use a 12.5 point font? I mean, to a degree of detail.
On the font.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the font, yeah.
Like, wow, really? I was like, all right, we'll adjust it, and so we do everything we can to, there's so much detail just goes on the marketing side of things.
Oh yeah, it really is. You just mentioned one of them. We were coming up with the logo. We went back and forth on the size of that font even.
Oh yeah.
There's so many things, and then you look at it again and you find more detail. But it does. Marketing is extremely detailed, and I'm really grateful that we have a team with you, Morgan, as a manager, you as the creative consultant that we have in our company, and Gabrielle. We are really happy. I'm happy to be able to see so much getting done, and so much is needed. Really, it is.
Oh yeah,
needed.
it's interesting because we have so many ideas of what we want to do, and it's just we're able to do some of it, but there's so much more that I know that we're dying.
I keep a list, and it's up to 4 pages of possible projects that we can start on.
I know
It's gonna
huge.
grow,
And it just keeps growing.
And we
keep
look at
track
Texas,
of it.
right? And we're like, you've got 4 pages of stuff that no one else is doing in Texas.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we know we'll kill it.
and it really has changed. I'm really excited about some of those things we're doing, the Facebook, the Instagram, this direct and targeted advertising we're doing. But it's, like you said, it's not just stagnant, it's not sterile, it's engaging, it's social. And this is really a lot more fun. It is a lot easier because it's so natural to show who we are, to show who I am.
But was it easy in the beginning?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I like it a whole lot better than these canned ads that I would tend to want to try to do. And now you've helped us to see, both of you particularly have helped me to see, that we just want to show what's real. We want to show real and engaging. And it seems to be resonating more and more, and I like it, and I'm getting more and more used to it. And we've got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be able to do in that realm.
And you know what I was thinking too, part of marketing is also setting expectations for clients. So like you said, that we don't want the client that just, okay, handshake and we're ready to go. But I think that anybody who looks at our content knows that we are not going to do that. So they're not even going to call us. So then that type of marketing is then saving you time because you're not going out on leads that aren't qualified. And then our sales team isn't putting forth energy on unqualified people who are then just going to say, nope, never mind.
Yeah, I was
So
just wanted to
vets
see what it
people.
would cost. Yeah,
Yeah.
we really are working for people. We don't mind telling people what they cost right at the beginning. I go out personally and meet people and meet almost every potential client myself so that I can really see what their needs are and perhaps even suggest alternatives if that doesn't work for them, what they told me they were looking for. Yeah, we can suggest alternatives.
And some people decide to wait. Like we just
That's
had
right.
a client that called us after 5 years of meeting you the first time, right? Or
Right.
something like that.
Right, so years go by in many cases, and then we get that client again, but we're giving them good, useful information. We're all
And they
about the
trust you.
detail, we're all about the detail, we're all about the experience, we're all about the precision that goes in communication, both before, during, and afterward. We're gonna keep that communication going, that line, and we're going to have a friendship when this project is over with. It's because, like you said, people don't forget you if they felt they could trust you. If you did what they said, then they're going to remember you for life. And we are that type of remodeler, the one that can be there for anything. I even tell folks, don't matter what you need after we're done, even if you need an auto mechanic, ask us. We'll give you someone that we know you can trust.
Absolutely.
And so I'm excited about how our revenue has grown from the internet and from this type of advertising, and we're getting to new folks that never would have been attracted to us through just the radio show.
Yeah, they wouldn't have even seen us really, right?
That's right.
And Morgan's really grown the Instagram this
Yeah.
past year. Where did it start at and where is it now?
Oh man, I don't remember where. I think it started at like 400, right?
Yeah, 400
And
followers.
that was definitely all of us combined, all of our ideas. But now we're at 1,400.
14,000.
14,000. Yeah,
14,000.
14,000.
14,000.
14,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
It's
really
crazy.
grown, and that's something else that we've helped others to grow their Instagram and Facebook pages with different sponsors that we've had. So that's been a new angle that we've been approaching too. Is we can help other companies to grow by being associated with ours, and
Really?
that's exciting.
Absolutely.
It's really cool being able to call ourselves a micro influencer.
Yeah, and we are.
That's cool.
With our videos and our Instagram and all the things we're doing on those Facebook and Instagram, and as well as YouTube. We've done a lot of videos, haven't we? And Justin, you've got a few more you're gonna
We've
be
got
delivering
tons more.
up
We got
for us.
tons more. We got plenty. I mean, we've got so much content, and this has been the year of content. And I think next year will be even more content related stuff. But I think
But now
We're
we're
gonna
able
put out
to
some-
decide what do we want to do with all of this content. That's kind of how I feel next year is going. Okay, we have all of this already. We've got the cool videos. We can watch a house being remodeled from start to finish. What do we do with that
we
now?
pretty much filmed every
The
project
sky
this
is
year.
the limit.
I mean, and I just want to tell you, can you imagine my frustration for years and years of doing incredible projects and having no record of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so hard. I mean, when Morgan came on, she finally researched and found someone who could photograph every project that we do.
Yep.
Every project is getting photographed now, and many of them, as we said, are being videoed now. And we're doing a chronology of the project from beginning to end.
Yeah, you go on. You can watch the demo day all the way through.
To the final party.
Yeah, final party. Because that's another thing we introduced this year was at the end of some of these big projects we're doing. We're throwing huge parties for these clients.
An
Oh,
open
yeah.
house. They've been hearing for the past couple of months, their coworkers, we're getting a remodel. Their coworkers want to see it.
Right.
Their neighbors have been seeing our trucks around. They want to see it. So we decided that we would throw the party
And
so
we
that
did
they
a nice
could see it.
prototype of that we can repeat now.
And then, the raves from that party was the neighbors, the clients loved it. They still call us
Oh, yeah.
saying how much they appreciated that party.
And you can see a vlog from that party on the YouTube, either right now or soon. But it's going to be on the YouTube, and that's going to have all kind of details of that party. And that was a real success. That was a lot of fun.
And we're even going to be making it even better because now we have an awesome sponsor who's going to be reaching our clients with their awesome beer. It's a local Fredericksburg company. So it's growing like crazy.
And that was a great opportunity. What we did is we went out to, was it Allstat Brewery there in Fredericksburg for their grand opening. And so we do have one vlog up on YouTube where you can see that whole, day. That was fantastic. And so that's, I think we're trying to look for more opportunities like that, what we can do to network with special local people. Because what we want to do as a company is, have our maximum impact on San Antonio, but we want to find other people who do the same thing and kind of, like you talked about, their focus on customer service and turning out quality products. And so we're trying to find like-minded companies that we can partner with, and I think we found one in the brewery for sure. Also,
absolutely, yeah. So we've got some other exciting opportunities that we're going to be presenting. But in short, I mean, I am just never been more thrilled than I am now about our opportunities in marketing. Having you two as a cohesive team has really changed things for our company, and I know the whole team at K & Builders really appreciates the interconnection that we're experiencing now, the knowledge of what's going on with our marketing and with clients and their experience, and being able to see that, being able to see us in new places as well, is really, really advancing the team spirit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even now we do a newsletter every week that goes out to potential and previous customers, but we also have a newsletter that keeps all of our employees up to date. So some of them are in the demoing of the project, so they may not be able to see the finished projects, but now they do. So they feel like, oh, I get to show my wife what I did, on this project. So everybody's been more connected recently, which I think it's great, because if you have your employees showing their friends, look at this awesome project that I see,
That's
and
exactly
you give
right.
them the availability to do it easily.
Yeah, not just
They
the team
love it.
member, but the team member's family and friends are
Yeah.
now connected. And you send out a monthly email to all the employees that lets them know everything that's going on in the company world. So we're really increasing the information
reach.
back and forth, and the reach, like you said, is expanding constantly, and it's in a very natural, organic way that we're doing this. We're not spending a whole lot of money on marketing, other than you guys. I mean, what I pay y'all, but it really is a reasonable way to build the business and to tell people what we're already doing successfully.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for joining me in this. I hope that you all, who are listeners, are appreciating what we're talking about, that it is interesting to you, and I hope too that you believe that it is really what we are all about.
Absolutely.
And how we are behind the scenes. We hope to be able to share more insights with you in our next episode of Behind the Remodeler.
See y'all later.